The Opinion with Michael J. Today's topic is YouTube influencers that are partisan in nature that disguise themselves as independent news. Now, their news sources are usually social media, and one of the main sources of that social media is X, formerly known as Twitter, which we know Elon Muscolini has said he's for free speech, but he's dialed in the algorithms to favor right-wing, authoritarian, totalitarian, fascist movements like the AfD in Germany, etc., but to influence his narrative. So really, Twitter is no longer, X is no longer free speech. Simple as that. So here we are with Moose on the Loose, David. I'm sure he's a nice guy on a one-on-one basis. I'm not doubting that whatsoever. That's not the point of this video. The point of this video is to show how conservative influencers disguise themselves as independent news. Now, this is May 3, 2025. Take it away, Moose.
Where he was saying there will be punishments to financial institutions. He literally is a net zero zealot.
It's already happening. Welcome back to Moose and Loose. My name's David. Today, Mark Carney's met with the UN Secretary General. This guy's an eco-nut, a net zero zealot, just like Mark Carney. So he's already putting these gears in motion. He's not wasting any time. And with that, we've got Australian News taking shots at Mark Carney, bringing up a clip of him saying that he wants to tax and increase the cost of flying, essentially encouraging people not to fly. Then we'll move over into a document that's been uncovered that links Mark Carney and Donald Trump. I mentioned it in the Kushner bailout video. Well, now we have proof that they have leverage over each other. They completely duped the Liberals in getting the vote. These guys are working together. Mark Carney's not going to fight for Canada. Let's jump into this. First up, we got Sheree Teese here. It says, if the Conservatives had won the popular vote by...
Okay, here we are, X. So this is the platform they're using as news. All it really is, this isn't news. This is just conservative, partisan influencers with a group of followers that are just whipping up a brush fire of ideology in order for the people to consume, influence their way of thinking, and a lot of times providing for a false narrative that serves no one in a progressive, uplifting manner. It's amazing how you can use fiction to create fact.
By 2.4% instead of the Liberal, they would be in the very same position as the Liberal Party right now. Though this is a tough pill to swallow. You can see here 165 to 147, so yeah, very similar. The problem with this campaign, there was so much Liberal slander saying Poilievre would take away women's rights and abortion rights and all these kind of things, and there was no...
Liberal slander? David, you had Pierre Poilievre, the leader of the Conservative Party, out and out, bald-facing, misrepresenting facts, twisting them, really just lying. I really don't like using that term. But that's the facts. You've seen it with the Horizon report, especially the last one with the snakes and ladders. That was just nasty manipulation in not the way that the report was meant to be used. It was used and abused by Pierre Poilievre.
pushback. It seems conservative candidates were not allowed to push back against this stuff. And I don't agree on this tactic, this strategy coming from the top, coming from Pierre Poilievre's strategy team, Jenny Byrne. I do not agree with this at all. This was a horrible decision because, well, they lost the election. There needs to be more freedom for candidates to be able to speak out and do radio shows and clear stuff up in their local communities across Canada. We got this new map for Western Alliance. This one bigger than the other ones, including Manitoba as well. I think this is jumping the gun here. We'll see what happens with Alberta first. Next up, we got this one from Mark.
Like, why would you look at that with glee? Like, it does not make sense. What is this? You're creating division within your own country. Instead of uniting and coming together to create a better experience for everybody, you're just creating a division, and it's my way or the highway. And you're happy doing that. And you're supporting that. You don't get your way, so what do? This is not how you deal with things in a mature manner.
Alberta first. Next up, we got this one from Mark Nixon. It says, do the elbows up agree with the National Post? Americans agree that Carney victory was their doing. Wondering how many voters are now asking themselves, WTF just happened? Next up, we got this one from Brian Lilly. It says, Trump's trade representative speaks about negotiations with Canada, takes shot at Trudeau, compliments Carney, and has good things to say about manufacturing in North America.
What happens is the more ambitious a country is, the more ambitious we can be. We're working with the UK very closely. We're working with Korea. We're taking anyone who's ready to move forward, and we're moving as quickly as we can.
Okay, the new Canadian Prime Minister on trade. Take a listen.
Our old relationship with the United States, a relationship based on steadily increasing integration, is over. These are tragedies, but it's also our new reality.
So he essentially ran on being anti-Trump. And talked a lot tough about what they're going to do retaliatory. How does that go with Canada?
Well, I think you heard today the president in the cabinet meeting talked about his interactions with the new prime minister, and he said they've been positive. They had a call a few weeks ago as well, and they were positive. I think the new prime minister is a serious person, not the same experience we had with the old Canadian prime minister, and the president very much wants to have a healthy relationship in North America. We should have more manufacturing in North America. We need to have it in our hemisphere, and we'll see how the relationship.
You'll notice how Greer is actually altering the stance of America. And this is why it's been an issue ever since January 20th, 2025, when Trump took over. There's no clear path forward. It's the goalposts are always changing. And they get themselves into trouble, they change the goalpost. They push the envelope as far as they can to bully and intimidate Canada, their allies, and everyone around the world. And then when there's pushback and things are not working out the way that they anticipate, then they change the narrative. And this is what Greer is doing right now.
Goes. It's really at the leaders level with the president, the prime minister, but we stand ready to engage it.
So what we're seeing here is that Mark Carney, I mentioned this a while ago, and it seems to be true. Mark Carney has leverage over Donald Trump.
Here we are back to X for our news. Great news source. And now we're doing this conspiracy theory leverage over Trump. How about the leverage being selling bonds by the Japanese and other countries that hold U.S. securities in order to actually force a change of stance regarding tariffs? You don't think of that position, do you, David? That's beyond the comprehension of people. You get down to this really schoolyard stuff, which is just bullying, taunting, and this is how they're doing it, but I got no proof, but this is how they're doing it. You know, you conflate analysis with opinion. You conflate facts with opinion. So it's all just opinion. It's all conjecture. And it has no merit whatsoever. Some of it may, but very, very little. And when you start going down those rabbit holes, you find out, damn, nothing worthwhile here. That's the reality.
This one posted by Stephen Panwasi. This is news to me. I haven't seen this one coming from the United States Senate. This is going back to 2022, so this has been ongoing. It says here, Dear Mr. Flatt, this is Bruce Flatt, CEO of Brookfield Asset Management. This Bruce Flatt. I'm writing regarding Brookfield Asset Management's refusal to provide the Senate Finance Committee information it has related to transaction with Kushner companies involving funding from the government of Qatar. As you're aware, the committee is investigating whether former senior White House advisor Jared Kushner's financial conflicts of interest influence U.S. policy in the Middle East. In particular, the...
Oh, crap. Do you think that Kushner influenced policy? The fact that after the administration left, Kushner got $2 billion from the Saudi Prince investment fund, even though the managers of the investments fund said no. The Saudi Prince overruled them, and Kushner got $2 billion. But there's other things going on there that goes in a different direction from the way you're trying to manipulate it into. This doesn't work. This whole administration, Trump 1, Trump 2, has been working for themselves. Number 2 is a Project 2025 plus self-interest.
The committee's investigation seeks to uncover the full extent of which Brookfield was aware that a fund co-owned by the government of Qatar would be used to carry out a $1.2 billion bailout of the struggling Kushner property. They are investigating, and Brookfield is keeping this information hidden. So they do have a piece there. Mark Carney came in after this was happening, but guaranteed he can call up his buddy Bruce here. He's known for 25 years and say, hey, we need to use this as a leverage point so I can get more from...
Good golly, sir. David, is your mind that active thinking up these friggin' nonsensical things? Can Carney call the CEO of Brookfield? Certainly. I'm sure he could. Better than calling you for advice, don't you think? Maybe he needs advice on a topic this guy has more experience with. Like, come on now. It's just like when I wanted legal advice, I used to call Jim Torrey Jr. from Torrey and Torrey. Like, who are you going to call? The people that know best. This is not a friggin', in the NBA they do slam dunks every game. So, come on.
Donald Trump, or he's able to control Donald Trump or get a better deal or get rid of the tariffs or whatever it may be. I don't know what his positioning is here. He just moved the business to America. So these guys...
Yeah, but here, David, I'm going to let you in on something. Insider knowledge. Trump is controlled by Putin. Yeah, Putin. This guy, right here. Nancy Pelosi said it. All roads lead to Putin. And guess what, David? All roads do lead to Putin. That's why you see the behavior with the United States and also the really odd behavior with Ukraine over the last couple of years. And it's like a Republican thing. And, if you're paying attention, it'd be pretty obvious by now. You would think. Maybe.
Are working on this together. These guys are not enemies. This money and this whole situation with foreign policy, the bailout property, as I showed in the previous video, Jared Kushner and Mark Carney standing right next to each other. These guys know each other. I bet you Donald Trump and Mark Carney already know each other as well. So to clarify, Mark Carney came into Brookfield in 2020. This happened in 2018, 2 years before he got there. But, so now I'm going to speculate, this was a favor that Bruce Flatt did for Donald.
Everything you say, for the most part, is pure speculation, David. Let's be straight up and forthright and honest with the general public.
Trump. Mark Carney coming in his chair, knowing Bruce Flatt for 25 years, the power betting man. They made a plan that Mark Carney becomes prime minister, changes policies that enrich Brookfield. Perhaps Brookfield becomes...
Yikes. This man has a friggin' imagination that has no boundaries. No boundaries whatsoever. Some people put up fences. This is a flat earth plan. Flat earth plan? Holy crap. You one of the flat earthers? Okay, so here's another one. Moose on the Loose, 5 hours ago, and this is May the 4th, 2025. I'm going to say it again. Take it away, Moose.
So let's take a beat, really frame it for us. How much volume has just dropped off in the last few weeks?
Well, we've got quite a bit going on here today. Welcome back to Moose and Loose. My name's David. Today, we've got updates from...
We got more going on today. There's more drama here. You guys ever watch? There used to be soap operas. Used to be Monday to Friday during the daytime, Guiding Light and who knows what, all these other things. And there was more drama with that. And here we have just drama. This is what conservative influencers are disguising as independent news. Just friggin' drama, conjecture, and unfortunately people just take that as a de facto standard. They believe it. And I showed a CNN interview with 4 black people in South Carolina, and it just proved people don't use main source media for their news. They get it from social media. And that's where the danger is and why you have the situation with Trump and the U.S. that are now predators instead of the steerers of democracy and security for the world. They've become predators. All because of constituents, electorate, that are ignorant, do not get their information properly, and give power to somebody that's an egomaniac. They get into this autocratic syndrome mentality.
Pierre Poilievre, Mark Carney, but most notably Diana Fox Carney, released a book before the election calling herself the First Lady. How did she know Carney was going to win? Let's jump into this. First up, we got General Motors cutting more jobs because Mark Carney is still sitting on the side.
Look at that. The greatest source of news information you can get. X, a.k.a. Twitter. Holy crap, man.
Sidelines doing nothing. Now, he is going to be meeting with Trump on Tuesday. He could have already met with Trump last week, the week before.
He could have met with Trump. He only became prime minister officially on the 30th of April. He was it before by an internal election of the Liberals, which, you know, he's actually using being fair to the country and to the other parties by not meeting with Trump, waiting until an established mandate from the government after the election has been put into place before anybody meets with Trump. So come on, let's not play these friggin' nonsensical games. I know it's fodder to fuel your followers, but it's not the truth.
He could have met with him a month ago. Carney clearly doesn't care about other people's jobs, but says here that GM will be cutting the third shift in their Oshawa plant in light of forecast demand for evolving trade environment. Got this one here. NDP floor crossers may give Carney a majority. So at this point, it seems they're going to either need 3 or 4. The results seem to be changing, but they're also going to need a speaker. So if they get 172, they take one for speaker, then they don't have a majority. That's where Elizabeth May has come in and offered her services. She's been absolutely insane Speaker of the House. Still no word on this, but Mark Carney did say he wouldn't be working with the NDP in a coalition. That doesn't mean he won't be flipping them over to the Liberals team for a majority, though. Next up, we got Damien Carrick announcing he'll be stepping down to let Pierre Poilievre run in his riding. This is an incredibly generous
Incredibly generous? The fact of the matter, Carney did not put any roadblocks in the way of the Conservatives, which is the appropriate way to act at all times. But the fact of the matter is here, you got Pierre Poilievre, lost his riding of 20 years in Ottawa. His party increased their influence because of all this right-wing maple MAGA. It's all Trump American-style politicking. So they increased their base across the country. But the constituents that know Pierre Poilievre best, which is Ottawa Carleton, rebuked him, and resoundingly so, by 4,300 votes. But because there's this mentality that it's got to be our way and no other way, this is the conservative way, doesn't matter what's best for the country. All it is what's best for the conservatives. And this is where it starts becoming dangerous, because you've got influencers that are promoting ignorance, and their feeders, who they're feeding into, their conscripts, are ignorant also because they believe this as truth. And that's where it's really dangerous. You see it down in the United States, where you've got an oligarchy system now, democracy out the friggin' window, the civil service is being gutted because they thought it was the deep state, but they're finding out now the planes are dropping out of the sky. You know, you knock civil servants. They provide a performance, a function that is desperately needed by the people of the country. But you create them as being a pariah of some sort. It's not an easy job. You think it's an easy job. You think you're giving money away, etc., etc. They're essential to the functioning of society. And it's necessary. Sure, there's going to be some waste, but not to the degree you think. And a lot of them are just doing their jobs. They've got no political interest whatsoever, but do their jobs. And dealing with the public is not easy.
Selfless move. Jagmeet Singh takes some notes. So just to show this on the map here, it's this one here, Battle River Crowfoot, just to the east of Calgary. And what we're seeing here, 81.8%. This is probably one of the most secure conservative ridings in Canada. So very selfless of Damien Carrick. Not only that, he's 6 months away from getting his pension, unlike Jagmeet Singh, who destroyed Canada for his pension. And he destroyed the NDP while he's at it.
Hold on. That's pure ignorance too. Jagmeet Singh, not a bad guy. Did he make some mistakes? He thought he could be leader. He wanted to force an election because he thought he could be leader. It turns out you got a serious situation with the Trump presidency that wants to exert its will on its allies and all other countries in a way for their benefit first and foremost. So that is what's caused the demise of the Bloc and the NDP. Half of the NDP losses maybe went Liberal, but you're going to be surprised the other half went Conservative. And I'm sure you wouldn't have expected that, but I expected that because I've seen that trend going back well over 10 years ago. It's always been inherent within the NDP party.
I thought this summed it up well here from Table Salt. Says Conservative MP Kurek resigned voluntarily to support his leader, Pierre Poilievre. Mark Carney stole $350,000 from Ruby Dalla, fired Chandra Arya to steal his seat.
Oh, come on now. Like, frig.
Damien Kirk, who's been an MP since 2019, he's 6 months away from qualifying for his pension, and he's given up his seat for his leader. He obviously has full confidence in his leader. I think that's a big move.
Yeah, they want to win. They don't care who they step on. They don't care if they step on the people across the country. They're only there to take care of their people, not all the people. And that's the big difference. And this guy's a smart guy. I forget his name, but he's a smart guy. But let's understand, conservatives stick within themselves. It's almost like, Jimmy Jones. Everybody followed Jimmy Jones to the promised land, drank the friggin' from the bowl of the grape juice to the heavens. They all dropped dead. Like, come on now. We wasted enough time. We don't need pain and suffering. There's been enough pain and suffering. Anybody that thinks the affordability crisis or the housing crisis is based on one party alone, no. It's based on multiple parties and their behaviors over the course of many decades, beginning in the start of the 1970s, early 1970s. And let's be fair and honest, how we got to where we are now. And that requires change by both parties, Liberal and Conservative, as well as the NDP, as well as the Bloc Québécois, because their real agenda is to separate. And this Danielle Smith has been disingenuous with her approach, which we're going to get into in the near future. And let's see what else we can get out of
that he's made. He's a young guy with a young family. So to do that is, clearly he has strong, loyalty to the leader, right, which is a
strong loyalty to the leader. Plus he's in Alberta, that they're going to get him a job somewhere. They're going to take care of him. Stephen Harper's running the pension plan. They take care of themselves. Trust me. As a matter of fact, there's so much scandal and corruption under Danielle Smith you have not seen in half a century. And that's the truth. Let's call it for what it is. What else we gonna hear? Oh yeah, here we go. Oh, we got doing something against Mark Carney. She's written like about $5. Mark Carney's wife. She's a very smart gal. Here.
Question: how long?
You mentioned you will put
this
a
is
cap
Rebel
on
News.
Immigration. Which number are we talking
Right
about,
there.
Mr. Carney? Premier Smith said you and your Liberal government don't respect the Constitution. How will you unite the country and Western forces as Prime Minister? Can you stop? You can't block me.
Meanwhile, between Rebel News and the other so-called independent news, ended up causing such a disruption to the leaders' debates that at the end you couldn't have a scrum with the leaders. And that's what really did happen. So what else do we have here? Are we going to do anything else? The pipeline, that's another thing, the friggin' pipeline. This is just friggin' unbelievable. But anyway, I'm just going to stall right here because this is about conservative influencers that disguise themselves as independent news. And young people are following this stuff and thinking this is true. You've seen it right here. David creating conspiracies between Brookfield and Carney that are pure nonsense based on conjecture without merit. And the mentality of fighting a war, us against them, provides nothing constructive. Projecting a narrative to create division with biases when you have a time of crisis with this guy Trump just tanking every economy that requires unity and change in the overall economy. Come on. Division and separation. Are you a builder of bridges or a builder of walls? And that's the real question here. Be a builder. Don't be like this guy. Don't be like this guy. He's dangerous. Nikita Khrushchev said, we'll destroy America from within. They got Donald Trump there, and guess what? That's what they're doing now. But that's beyond the comprehension of Mr. David, Mr. Elevate, Mrs. Juno News, Ezra Levant, Rebel News. Man, this guy's in his own world. And that's just the way it is. The way it is. Okay, folks. Thanks for watching. Questions, comments, throw in chat. Love and peace to everybody. Take care. And we'll talk to you soon. How do we exit? How do we exit? Love and peace. Thanks for watching. Ciao.